Opportunistic infections. Today we will discuss about the new topic, opportunistic infections. There are four objectives of the lecture. Describe the pharmacology of antimicrobial drugs used in the treatment of opportunistic infections. Design a plan for management of common opportunistic infections. Write prescriptions for common opportunistic infections and outline the therapeutic approach for opportunistic infection in immunocompromised patients. Immunocompromised patient as the name indicate, immunity is compromised, or we can say decreased to fight against the infections are termed as immunocompromised patients, and including the HIV immunodeficiency virus. Generally, the term opportunistic infections are infections that occur more frequently and are more severe in people with weakened immune system, including the people with HIV, the main features of opportunistic infections include they are usually organisms of low pathogenicity, or we can say the opportunistic organisms with low pathogenicity. This organism may cause serious infection mainly when the host defense mechanism against infections are impaired. And this organism can behave as conventional pathogens under opportunistic conditions. So when the people immune system is down, defense mechanism is down, the other organisms can easily infect the patients in whom already there is weakened immune system or down defense mechanism. So overall, the opportunistic infections is a terminology. As the name indicates, these pathogens get opportunity to infect the person whose immune system or defense mechanism is down, decreased, or not working properly. So we can say the opportunistic microbes can easily infect the immunocompromised persons, immunocompromised patients. What are the therapeutic approach for the opportunistic infection in immunocompromised patients? All immunocompromised patients, including HIV related infections and malignancies, cancer patients, increases in frequency and morbidity as the absolute CD4 lymphocyte count falls towards 200 cells per microliter and below. So this is the most remarkable indication when the CD4 T lymphocytes count falls towards 200 cells per microliter. It will increase the morbidity in immunocompromised patient. Patients should be aware of their CD4 count and their risk of specific infections. So therapeutic approach for opportunistic infections is most important. The patient should be aware of their CD4 count and their risk of specific infections. In terms of the therapeutic approach, the following CD4 counts are useful landmarks. Useful landmarks for initiation of antimicrobial prophylaxis in immunocompromised patient. If the patient has less than 250 cells per microliter, the most probable infection is coccidioidomycosis, which is a type of fungal infections. So it is most important if the immunocompromised patient has less than 250, 100, 250 cells per microliter, there should be coccidioidomycosis prophylaxis should be done, which is the type of the fungal infection. If the CD4 count less than 200 cells per microliter, Pneumocystis carinii pneumonia prophylaxis is most important because this type of patient is most probably get Pneumocystis carinii pneumonia. If the CD4 cell count less than 150 cells per microliter, the histoplasmosis prophylaxis is important if the patient is on high risk exposure to the histoplasmosis infected person. If the CD4 cell count less than 100 cells per microliter, toxoplasmosis prophylaxis is very important if the patient is seropositive. If CD4 cell counts less than 100 cells per microliter, then penicillosis prophylaxis if living in high risk area. And the last but not least, If the CD4 cell counts less than 50 cells per microliter, micro, sorry, Mycobacterium avium complex infection prophylaxis must be initiated. So this is the therapeutic approach for opportunistic infection in immunocompromised patient with more important indications of CD4 cell counts. Design a plan for the management of common opportunistic infections or write prescriptions for common opportunistic infections. Plan for management or prescription, the same. Let us see. For the prevention or treatment of the coccidioidomycosis fungal infection, the prescription should include fluconazole 400 milligram daily. Fluconazole 400 milligram daily is initiated for the fungal infection of coccidioidomycosis. Fluconazole, we already studied in the fungal infections. The pharmacology of the fluconazole you can find in our previous lecture of antifungal drugs. Second infection, Pneumocystis carinii pneumonia, PCP, is best treated by the trimethoprim sulfamethoxazole, and the prescription should include trimethoprim sulfamethoxazole, which is 1 double strength tablet orally daily or 1 double strength tablet orally 3 times weekly. An alternative for the trimethoprim and sulfamethoxazole includes dapsone 100 milligram orally daily. So for pneumocystis carinii pneumonia, the most important drug or the prescription should include trimethoprim and sulfamethoxazole. And this trimethoprim sulfamethoxazole, we will see the pharmacology of both drugs plus dapsone. Next infection is histoplasmosis, which is a type of lung infection caused by inhaling histoplasma fungal spores. And it is treated and prevented by itraconazole 200 milligram orally daily. Itraconazole is a fungal drug, antifungal drug. We studied the pharmacology of itraconazole in our previous lecture of antifungal drug. You can find next infection is Toxoplasma gondii infection, or we can say toxoplasmosis, which is caused by the parasite. Generally, the muscle pain, fever are the common symptoms, and to prevent or treat the toxoplasmosis, trimethoprim and sulfamethoxazole 1 double strength tablet orally once daily is preferred. Double strength, double dose. For the penicillosis, which is the fungal infection, is best treated and prevented by itraconazole 200 milligram oral daily. Mycobacterium avium complex infection, that is the MAC infection, is best treated and prevented by azithromycin 1200 milligram orally weekly dose. Latent Mycobacterium tuberculosis infections and exposure should be treated by isoniazid 300 milligram and pyridoxine 25 milligram orally daily for 9 months. Uh, the pharmacology of trimethoprim and sulfamethoxazole we will see now. Itraconazole already discussed in antifungal topic. Azithromycin we will discuss now. For the tuberculosis drug isoniazid and pyridoxine, we have the second topic of tuberculosis. We will discuss the pharmacology of isoniazid and pyridoxine in this lecture. Varicella zoster virus infection, and for prevention of varicella zoster virus infection, there should be the vaccine, or we can say varicella zoster immunoglobulin or antibodies required. And for the treatment and prevention of the syphilis, the benzathine penicillin G 2.4 million units intramuscular as a single dose. So these are all the plan of management and prescriptions for the opportunistic infection in immunocompromised person. Describe the pharmacology of antimicrobial drug used in the treating opportunistic infection. Let us see the drugs we just discussed now. Now we will discuss about the pharmacology. The first one is trimethoprim and sulfamethoxazole, which is generally considered as antibacterial. Dosage form, it's available as injectable solution, tablet, and oral suspensions. How it acts? Mechanism of action. Trimethoprim inhibits the dihydrofolate reductase and thereby blocking the production of tetrahydrofolic acid from dihydrofolic acid. And sulfamethoxazole inhibits the bacterial synthesis of dihydrofolic acid by competing with PABA, that is para amino benzoic acid. These two drugs mainly inhibits the synthesis of folic acid, and which is the most important components for the synthesis of purine, pyrimidine, or nucleic acid in the bacteria. The adverse effect includes gastric distress, that is nausea, vomiting, QT prolongation, resulting in ventricular tachycardia, and Torsades de Pointes. Torsades de Pointes is a specific form of polymorphic ventricular tachycardia in patient with a long QT interval. It is characterized by rapid irregular QRS complexes which appear to be twisting around ECG baseline, that is electrocardiogram baseline. Thrombotic thrombocytopenia purpurea, hypoglycemia, and metabolic acidosis are the adverse effect for the trimethoprim and sulfamethoxazole. So caution should be taken in the patients of cardiac arrhythmia, deep vein thrombosis, diabetic mellitus. Contraindications: hypersensitivity to drug, and the age of patient less than 2 months, infants less than 2 months is contraindicated. Creatinine clearance less than 50 ml per minute, contraindicated in the patient having creatinine clearance less than 15 ml per minute. When renal function status cannot be monitored, documented megaloblastic or folate deficiency anemia, as the drug affects the folic acid synthesis. The patient with significant hepatic impairment, contraindicated in pregnant patients at terms, and the nursing mothers, because the sulfonamide, because sulfamethoxazole is a sulfonamide which pass the placenta and are excreted in the milk, may cause kernicterus. Kernicterus is a type of brain damage due to increase in bilirubin production. This drug is also contraindicated in the history of drug-induced immune thrombocytopenia with the use of trimethoprim or sulfa drugs. Plus, as we know that the sulfa drugs are contraindicated in the patients of the glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase deficient persons, because sulfa drug may cause hemolytic anemia. The combination name for this trimethoprim and sulfamethoxazole is cotrimoxazole. Cotrimoxazole. And generally in the cotrimoxazole, there is 160 double strength. In the double strength, there is 160 milligram trimethoprim and 800 milligram sulfamethoxazole in the double strength tablet. In the normal strength, trimethoprim will be 80 half and sulfamethoxazole will be 400 milligram. Dapsone, we seen the dapsone here for dapsone for pneumocystis carinii pneumonia, alternative for the trimethoprim and sulfamethoxazole. Here is a dapsone. Let us see the pharmacology of dapsone. Dapsone is also antibacterial and we can say anti-leprosy drug, generally used in the treatment of the leprosy, which is caused by the Mycobacterium lepra, the name of the organism, Mycobacterium. Dosage form available: topic tablets and the topical gel. Mechanism of action, it prevents the normal bacterial utilization of the PABA, para-aminobenzoic acid, for the synthesis of the folic acid by acting as a competitive antagonist of PABA. Same as cotrimoxazole, as it inhibits the folic acid by competition with the PABA. Adverse effect, gastric distress, hemolysis, and mid hemoglobinemia. The drugs which affect the synthesis of folic acid should be given with the concurrent administration of folic acid supplement to avoid the folic deficiency anemia. And contraindications of dapsone is hypersensitivity. Next drug, azithromycin. Azithromycin generally used in the Mycobacterium avium complex infection, the infection which is caused by the mycobacteria. Dosage forms, of azithromycin include tablet, injection, lyophilized powder for reconstitution, and oral suspension. Mechanism of action, bind to the 50S ribosomal subunit of susceptible microorganisms and causing RNA dependent protein synthesis to arrest. So we can say azithromycin inhibits the protein synthesis in bacteria. Adverse effect, diarrhea, nausea, abdominal pain, loose stool. Elevation in the liver enzyme. Contraindications, include hypersensitivity to azithromycin, erythromycin, and macrolide or ketolides, because azithromycin and erythromycin, these are from the category of macrolide antibiotic. Then great caution should be taken in the patient which is having history of cholestatic jaundice, hepatic dysfunction associated with prior use of azithromycin. Next drug is benzathine penicillin. As we discussed, the benzathine penicillin used in the treatment of syphilis infections, which is sexually transmitted infections. Dosage form, it is available as injectable suspension and should be given by intramuscular route. Mechanism of actions, as it is penicillin and interfere with the bacterial cell wall mucopeptide synthesis. Adverse effect includes the skin rashes, including maculopapular eruptions and exfoliative dermatitis, urticaria, serum sickness like reactions, example chills, fevers, edema, arthralgia, prostration, and pseudomembranous colitis. Contraindications, hypersensitivity or allergic reaction to the penicillin, and warning, not for IV use. Benzathine penicillin G should be not used intravenous. Do not inject IV or admix with other IV solutions. Inadvertent intravenous administration, which has been associated with cardiorespiratory arrest if given by intravenous route, and deaths are reported. So benzathine penicillin should be avoided by the intravenous route. Do not inject drug intravenously or admix with other intravenous solutions. So these all are about the pharmacology of the drugs, antimicrobial drugs, which are used in treating the opportunistic infections. Thank you very much.